different things. So when it comes to the child tax credit, just your thoughts as a guy who deals with this stuff on a regular basis. Have people been coming to you with questions saying, well, what's it all about?
There's a lot of questions about the child tax credit because, as you mentioned, it's new, right? And so the IRS never gave money out like this, where they just before you used to have to wait till you filed your tax return, and then there was a credit. And that credit now is being distributed over monthly payments. So let's first talk about what the difference between a credit and a deduction is, because a lot of people don't understand that, right? So if I get a deduction, I deduct that from my income, and then I calculate my tax from there. A credit is money that is dollar for dollar. So if I had $6,000 in taxes and I got a $2,000 child tax credit, which was before this year, it was $2,000, then I would only pay $4,000 in taxes. So that's a big difference. And so now they raised that child tax credit from $2,000 to as much as $3,600 for children under 4 and $3,000 for kids over 4 up to 17. So if I have 3 children over in their teens, I'm going to get $9,000. What the IRS is doing now, they're cutting that in half, and they're splitting that in 6 monthly payments. So they're gonna just send me a check, and that's what people got in a check. Some people got 3 checks in the mail from the IRS in July, right? Child tax credit.
Wow.
They got the money from the unemployment, because some people pay taxes on unemployment, and after they paid the taxes, the IRS said, or the Congress said, well, we're not going to tax you on unemployment. So they had to give them a refund. So they got that refund. And then sometimes people even got a stimulus check that was still out there. So they were getting money from the IRS. So usually pay the IRS.
Right. It is. I mean, obviously, so many things related to the pandemic and the business and the health and how it was affected has never, at least in lifetimes of people that we know, happened before. But still, with the IRS, you think you know them, right? And you think that it's sort of a one-way street, and the money goes in and it doesn't necessarily come out. Maybe some of the money you already paid in comes out. We have 3 kids, and so we're familiar with the child tax credit. But your thoughts, and maybe, I guess, surprised that they would do it as a check, like that they would just send you the money first.
Well, again, it's about they gave out 3 stimulus checks since COVID, right? So they can't keep giving out the money. So they got to think of another way to put money in in the taxpayers' pockets to pay their bills. And this was a way they can do that. And I think it's effective in the sense that you're getting the money first, and so you can use it monthly.
In the way that they describe it, and oftentimes politicians will come out and describe things in ways that just highlight just how great it is, and the impact. And so they're saying that this is the biggest stimulus or impact for children in the history of the country and things like that. It certainly is significant. It's a significant sum of money that they're doing. But is it one of those things where, do you see this as something that people, because once you do it, look at the tollways. Remember when that happened? It was supposed to be for like a year or so. That there's going to be, and probably already happened, I think they were trying to introduce that legislation that people aren't going to say, okay, well, this just gets us through the pandemic. This is like, where's my check next year?
Exactly. And of course, that's always the danger. But again, you were getting this tax credit anyway, or much of it. They're just giving it to you in advance. And so what that's going to happen is that you're not going to get that next year, right? You're when it comes time to pay your taxes, you're not going to get that credit. They've already given it to you. So your taxes bill is probably going to be higher.
As people have gotten a hold of you and said, well, I've heard about it, saw it in the news, and they want to get it. A lot of people, you saw the news reports, got it as a direct deposit back on the 15th. For those people that either didn't or don't know if they qualify, what are the rules with the tax credit?
Well, what happens is they're going to look at your 2019 or 2020 tax return, and they're going to base it on that. So the most common question I get is, why are they sending me money I don't qualify? And that's happening.
So as a point of pride, some people would say, hey, I don't want this money.
Well, they're afraid that if they get paid, you're going to have to pay it back. Right. But here, the good part is if they overpay you, and what's happening, right, is that and you probably heard this, the IRS has not processed all the 2020 tax returns yet. And so some people made less money in 2019 than they did in 2020. So if the IRS looked at their 2020 tax return, they wouldn't have qualified. But because it hasn't been processed yet, they're using 2019. But the good news is this. You just have to pay it back, right? So it's going to be a interest-free loan to you. Of course, if you don't have the money, that's gonna hurt.
Let the